September 26, 1983. Soviet bunker, just outside Moscow. Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov is staring at a screen that's screaming at him. 5 American nuclear missiles are incoming. Launch detected, launch detected, launch detected. The system is certain. His orders are crystal clear. Report the attack immediately so the Soviet Union can retaliate before being destroyed. He has minutes, maybe seconds, to decide. The fate of human civilization rests on whether he trusts a computer system that cost his government billions of rubles and supposedly never makes mistakes. He doesn't trust it. Petrov calls it a false alarm, risking court-martial, possibly execution for treason. 23 minutes of pure terror pass. No missiles arrive. The system was wrong. Catastrophically, almost apocalyptically wrong. Sunlight reflecting off clouds had fooled the satellites into seeing what wasn't there. The most expensive defense system the Soviet Union had ever built had nearly ended the world. But here's the thing that'll make your blood run cold. This wasn't even close to being the worst defense system failure in history. The Patriot missile system. You've seen it in movies, heard about it in the news as America's shield against enemy rockets. During the first Gulf War in 1991, the U.S. Army boasted a 96% success rate. Politicians praised it. Generals decorated it. The manufacturer's stock soared. Then the bodies were counted, and the truth came out. The actual success rate? Somewhere between 9% and 0%. Not a typo. 0%. February 25, 1991, Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. 28 American soldiers are playing cards, writing letters home, existing in that strange liminal space soldiers occupy between missions. Above them, a Scud missile is falling. The Patriot battery meant to protect them is running, humming, fully operational. It sees nothing. An Iraqi Scud, one of the crudest missiles ever designed, slams into their barracks at 1,700 miles per hour. The Patriot system, which cost $3 million per launcher and had consumed decades of research, never fired a single shot. The reason? A clock error. The system tracked time in tenths of a second, but the internal computer used a slightly different calculation, creating a tiny drift. After running continuously for 100 hours, the system's clock was off by about 1/3 of a second. Doesn't sound like much, does it? In that third of a second, a Scud travels more than half a kilometer. The Patriot was looking in the wrong piece of sky. 28 families got folded flags because someone rounded off a decimal point. But at least the Patriot was trying to save lives. Not all defense failures are so noble. The Maginot Line. Even if you know nothing about military history, you've probably heard the name used as shorthand for spectacular failure. France spent the equivalent of $7 billion in today's money building an impenetrable fortress along its German border. Thousands of tons of concrete. Artillery that could fire for days. Underground railways, hospitals, even air conditioning. It was the most sophisticated defensive structure ever conceived. A masterpiece of military engineering that theoretically made France invasion-proof. It worked perfectly. Germany simply drove around it through Belgium. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. Because the common narrative, the one everyone knows, that France was stupid and built a wall that could be bypassed, that's not quite true. French generals knew Germany could go through Belgium. They planned for it. The Maginot Line was supposed to force Germany to invade through Belgium, where French and British forces would be waiting. The strategy was sound. What failed was something no engineer could have predicted: politics, timing, and catastrophically bad luck. Belgium declared neutrality at the last second, preventing French forces from positioning there in advance. When Germany attacked, French troops had to rush to Belgium unprepared. The Maginot Line did its job. Everything else fell apart. If you're starting to see a pattern here, how billion-dollar systems fail not because of technology, but because of tiny human errors, political miscalculations, and cascading failures no one predicted. Then hit that like button and subscribe, because we're about to go deeper into the most expensive mistake in modern military history. The F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, the single most expensive weapons program ever created. The final price tag? Approaching $2 trillion. That's trillion with a T. For context, you could fund NASA at current levels for 200 years with that money. You could end world hunger 12 times over. What did that buy? A fighter jet that, for years, couldn't fly in the rain because the stealth coating would peel off. That couldn't fire its gun straight because the vibrations threw off its sensors. That suffocated pilots with toxic oxygen systems. During testing, the F-35 repeatedly lost dogfights to F-16s, a jet designed in the 1970s. In one infamous simulation, it got shot down by an antique MiG-21. How does this happen? How does the most expensive military project in human history produce a jet that can't do the basic things jets are supposed to do? The answer is a masterclass in how defense procurement becomes a disaster. The F-35 was designed to do everything: air superiority fighter, ground attack bomber, reconnaissance platform, aircraft carrier capable, vertical takeoff and landing. One jet for the Air Force, Navy, and Marines. Sounds efficient, right? In practice, it meant the jet became a Frankenstein's monster of compromises. The Marines needed vertical takeoff, so the jet got heavier. The Navy needed carrier landings, so it got structurally reinforced, making it even heavier. The Air Force needed speed and maneuverability, but now the thing was built like a tank. Each service wanted something different. Each requirement contradicted the others, and because the program was spread across 45 states, employing hundreds of thousands of workers, no politician would dare cancel it. It was too big to fail, so it failed expensively, slowly, in full view of the world. But the F-35 at least eventually started working. Sort of. Sometimes. The British TSR-2 wasn't so lucky. In the 1960s, Britain designed what should have been the most advanced strike aircraft ever built. Faster than the speed of sound at treetop level. Terrain-following radar that could navigate automatically. Revolutionary navigation systems. The prototype flights were magnificent. Test pilots said it flew like a dream. Then the British government calculated the actual cost. The program was canceled. Every single aircraft, every prototype, every piece of tooling was ordered destroyed. Not mothballed, destroyed. They literally used completed aircraft for target practice. Decades of research, hundreds of millions of pounds, obliterated because the political will evaporated overnight. France heard about this and immediately started developing the Mirage, using intelligence gathered about the TSR-2's design. The Mirage became one of the most successful fighter jets in history. Britain bought American jets and slowly watched its aerospace industry crumble. Here's what all these failures have in common. They weren't stupid people making dumb mistakes. These were some of the smartest engineers, most experienced generals, and most careful planners in the world. They failed because defense systems are almost impossibly complex. A modern fighter jet has millions of parts. A missile defense system processes billions of calculations. A border fortification has to account for political realities that can change overnight. And the consequences of failure aren't just wasted money. Those 28 soldiers in Dhahran, the potential nuclear holocaust Petrov prevented, the thousands who died when the Maginot Line strategy collapsed. Real people pay for these failures with their lives. So the next time you hear a politician promise a weapons system that will definitely work, that will make us absolutely safe, that's worth any cost. Remember the Patriot that didn't fire, the line that was flanked, the trillion-dollar jet that couldn't fly in the rain, and the Soviet computer that almost started World War III. Because the most dangerous words in defense procurement aren't, "this might not work." This can't possibly fail.